The Federal Reserve has given banks a warning that they should not do business with PayPal because they came out with a stable coin. Is that true though? I'm going to get into that. But first, please like and subscribe and check us down below for our CT Club, where you get our trade alerts. You get to see what micro caps we are getting into. We've been getting a ton lately, and just what we're doing overall in the market. Okay, let's go over to the first piece of news here before I get into the main story. We have ETF filings could introduce Bitcoin to $30 trillion market. And that is very true. This is according to a Bloomberg analyst. And I don't agree with a lot of people on mainstream media, but I definitely agree with this guy. And yeah, like Heidi and I have been saying, I don't think like $30 trillion is automatically just going to go into the market. What it's going to happen is there's going to be a lot more capital, and it's going to open up the door to a lot more bigger people with deep pockets into Bitcoin, right? And it gives them a peace of mind because all these massive banks and massive institutions are getting into Bitcoin. It's going to give them peace of mind, like, okay, it's all good. Now I can finally get into Bitcoin. And all the friends are going to get into it as well. So very bullish. Next, we have Alex Kruger on Twitter. He says, heads up, Bitcoin ETF news tomorrow. A delay is almost a certainty and likely fully priced in. I absolutely agree with you. If by chance the SEC approves or rejects ARK ETF, prices will run and not look back. So eventually it's going to get approved. And as I've said time and time again, that the SEC is owned by who? BlackRock. So it's all just a game at this point, right? So if BlackRock has their bags full and all their buddies have their bags full of Bitcoin, then it's time for the Bitcoin ETF. But if not, they're not going to pass it. So that's how it's going to work. Pretty much ignore the noise. I'm going to cover this stuff, but I'm going to remind you, just ignore the noise because it's all BS, right? Next up, we have the Federal Reserve talking about the banks and PayPal saying, hey, banks, don't deal with PayPal. They have a stable coin now. Now, this is what a lot of people are saying right now, and it's completely fake, false, whatever you want to call it. It's bullcrap. So on August 8th, the Federal Reserve released new guidance on cryptocurrencies and banks. Basically how a bank can interact with stablecoins. And the Federal Reserve will allow them to do this as long as the bank proves they can control things like customer runs, hacking, and other things like that. Basically what they've said, the Federal Reserve has said, is that the more that banks dive into the stablecoin realm, the more guidance from the Federal Reserve is going to be required from the banks. So there is nothing explicitly stated about PayPal, but it certainly falls in the realm of this. So there is no warning that banks are not supposed to do business with PayPal, but it could actually come in the future. So with that said, I'm going to leave you on a very positive note here. I mean, positive for us that are in Bitcoin and that have been our CT Club member and have been buying and accumulating Bitcoin during this accumulation phase. Biden asks US Congress for $40 billion, including $24 billion for the U word. That country with the U word, I'll get totally shadow banned if I say that. But yes, so they're gonna be printing, and there's nothing you can do or vote about it. But the positive news is that if you have Bitcoin, it's going to keep up with monetary inflation, and they cannot control the network. They cannot control Bitcoin. Bitcoin is a fixed supply. It's inelastic, which means inelastic is so important, which means that no matter what the price of Bitcoin does or what happens, the miners can only mine so much Bitcoin, and it is secured by math and not politicians. All right, that's very good news. I'll leave you on.
Best news yet.
Amen. All right, see you later.